Hi guys, this is Compound Interest Stock Guy, and today we're going to talk about warrants and the pros and the cons of warrants, okay? So, anyways, I'm not a financial advisor. I want to disclose, and anything I talk about in this video is just for entertainment and information purposes. Do not buy a stock because I talk about it in this channel. Buy it because you did your research and you like the stock, and sell it because you did your research and you decided to sell. Do not do that because I talk about this stuff in any of my videos. Okay, so here on the chart is 1933 Industries Inc. warrants, TGAF warrants, okay? So we're going to go into this list. I'm going to give a shout out to the Deep Dive. They have a great website where you can find out the listed cannabis warrants, okay? So it's a great resource to use if you want to find any companies in the marijuana space that have warrants, okay? So you see Aurora has warrants for sale. Australia's Capital, that's joint ventured with Aurora. It's not joint ventured, my bad, but it was spinned out from Aurora. So, and then there's Oxy Cannabis and Oxy Cannabis Group. So you got two of these, okay? So why is there two Oxy Cannabis Group warrants? That's a good question. Well, one of the warrants expires at 185 exercise price that it needs to hit, and there's an expiration on 5/31/2021, and then the warrant AV expires at the 16th and the first month of 2020, so it would be January 16th, 2020, and this is an exercise price of $1.80, okay? So there's no acceleration clause, okay? So if say in Cannabis Growth Opportunity Corporation, if the VWAP remains above 350 for 10 consecutive trading days, then they can accelerate and then make the warrants expire within a certain amount of time. So that's why when you own warrants, it's different than just owning a stock. You need to understand the expiration date and the acceleration clause before you buy the warrant. You can't just be like, oh well, I'm just buying the warrant, because what can happen is if the VWAP, they can accelerate it, and then if you don't purchase the warrant, the stock, or sell the warrants within that time frame, your warrants will expire and turn into $0. So say you could have these 1933 Industries warrants, and then they expire on September 14th, 2021, and you just hold it for till 2021 and you don't do anything about it, and you could have exercised them at 65 cents. Whenever it hits over 65 cents, then you're in the money. So look at it like, okay, you're paying 14 cents for TGIF. So in order to, what it gives you the ability to do with the warrant is, so say TGIF goes to $1.50 and you buy these warrants maybe as an insurance, just in case it goes up way too high and you didn't want to buy this whole stock because you felt it was too expensive on its own, then you would buy the warrants if you wanted to. Sometimes in some in the TSX stocks you can buy call options, which is very similar to these warrants, and they have different expiration dates. The warrants have longer expiration dates than usually call options. So if you buy these warrants, it's good for a long time. So okay, so if you look at it, if you bought them for 14 cents, say you buy 10,000 warrants and you spend $1,400 for those warrants, okay? So let's do the math on that, okay? So 10,000 times 14 cents. Okay, this is $1,400, okay? So now let's look up the stock price for TGIF. Okay, so it's at 32 cents, okay? So you could buy the share or you could buy the warrants, okay? But what the warrants give you the ability to do is you don't have to put out as much capital, and the reward you could get. So say it goes to $1.20, okay? So now your warrants would be worth effectively, if you were to sell to buy the shares, you would it would be 120 minus 65 cents. So you'd be in the money 55 cents. So times $10,000. So that'd be $5,500 that you'd be in the money for these warrants. So I think that minus the $1,400 that you paid. So you'd make $4,100 on 10,000 shares, okay? If it went to $1.20, okay? So you're paying $1,400 for the ability to make $4,100 if it went to this price. I mean, it's not going to be exactly like that, but it's going to be very close, within 10 to 15%, I'd say. The closer they get to expiration date as well on the warrants, they become worth less if they're not above this 32 cents. I mean, if they're not above the 65% strike price. So say it had a 1 month to go, I bet these warrants would be worth only maybe like 1 cent or 2 cents. So, but because they're really got a lot of time and they're fairly close to the 65 cents, then there's a premium on these warrants as 14 cents. So honestly, I think it's almost better to maybe even just buy the stock than buy the warrants. It's not that warrants are always better than stocks, but in some situations the warrants are better risk reward, in my opinion. Again, that's just my opinion. Okay, so emblem stock, you look at what happened to emblem stock, and this is where I'm going to get into details about where there is cons when buying warrants, okay? I'm not going to sugarcoat things and say that there's not problems with warrants. There is, okay? So now you got a Bucko 3, okay? So it was around this price, and it only lost like 13 cents, and then the warrants got killed. And why do the warrants get killed? Because they're getting acquired by Alifia. So that will make them not able to probably reach the price. I mean, they're gonna have to do a conversion thing. Alifia and Emblem will set up how much the Emblem warrants are worth when they get acquired. But until then, I mean, it's anyone's guess. So what people, when they're gonna get acquired and they're under their strike price, then people are just gonna panic sell, and they're gonna sell the shit out of these warrants. So you see right here, they were at 16 cents around this time. What are you doing? What the fuck? I got a lot of things up, so my server's probably pretty slow. I apologize. Okay, so you see right here, 17 cents, okay, and then as soon as it went down to, it went down because they were getting acquired, so that would mean that they wouldn't hit that strike price and all that kind of chaos, so people sold the shit. So that's what you want to do when, that's the fear of owning warrants if they're not in the money, is when they're getting acquired, then your warrants are going to be worth nothing. So you always got to read what the warrants, what the strike price is, what the acceleration clause, the expiration date. You can't just buy them and just, you know, not be blind about it. So these being as high as, let's look, probably say below here. It's being as high, these warrants are being high as $1, okay? Yeah, there's also, you get a lot of leverage on warrants or call options, okay? So the price variations, you're gonna see a lot higher percentage gains when you have warrants or call options, okay? So this was up to $1 back in January 18th. It went as high as $1, and now it's been traded, but now they're pretty cheap. I'm not saying to buy them or not buy them, but what they equal for here is emblem. They need to hit the regular warrants, which is this one. They need to hit 175, okay, and then they're gonna expire on December 6, 2019, okay? So pretty much a year from now, and they have to hit above $1.75 to be in the money. So if they go to say $2 in the next year, excluding the fact that it gets even more complicated now that they're getting acquired and their whole deal with Alifia, but for a regular stock that didn't get acquired, if it was to go to $2, all your warrants would be worth effectively 25 cents. So the warrant AVs, warrant A's, these are $2.15 strike price. So they're going to be cheaper because it needs to go higher to get to that level, right? And then these ones are $2.70. So that's like really way out of the money, and it's not very bullish because the fact that they're acquired. I mean, who knows? I don't know. I like Emblem and the Alifia, but as far as buying the warrants, it's uncharted territory for me. I wouldn't play with that right now. But I wanted to explain that buying warrants if the stock gets acquired is not good. But I am taking my risk because I do own 125,000 Harvest One warrant A's. This is true. I've gone very heavy with Harvest One cannabis warrants because they're gonna expire January 31st, 2020, and it needs it at 2:30 to be in the money, okay? And then there's no acceleration clause. So, I mean, I like their price to book. I'm not gonna get into detail Harvest One. I have another video you can check out on my channel where I go heavy into depth about Harvest One, and I talk about the company. Very thorough. I think you would enjoy it if you're interested in Harvest One. I recommend checking that video out. And then I have a lot of these Harvest One warrants because I bought them for 2.5 cents, and if this share price goes to say like $2.50, these warrants will be worth so much money that they probably go for a premium of like 40 or 50 cents. So I could probably like 16 times my money. I'm gonna be selling on the way up. I believe that in 2019 there will be a bull run for Harvest One. Again, I'm not a financial advisor and this is just my opinion, but yeah, so when the harvest, let's look at the Harvest One warrants. I'm not the best at my videos. I mean, with making videos, I do not know how to edit these videos, so I apologize. They're not the most refined videos, but I believe that my content is very strong and I'm giving my straight honest opinion and going in depth about a lot of these stocks. I mean, this is some gold if you ask me what I'm sharing with the world. So, okay, so you got the Harvest One warrants. Yeah, I'm below my average price is probably about 3 cents maybe. So it back in January they were around 25 cents, okay? So if I could get 10 to 15 cents on these warrants, I'd be very happy. Of course I'd be more happy if it went to 20 cents or 30 cents, but I'm not really expecting it so much. But yeah, those are the warrants, and the pros and cons of Harvest One warrants if they were to get acquired before they reach that is that they would become not worth much. That's why I probably want to get out of the warrants on the way up to $1 and $1.50 if it gets on that way, because I believe they'll go to about 10 to 15 to 20 cents when it's on that way. So I can afford to about like 6 times my money, and I could maybe 8 times my money. Where they move at a faster rate than the regular share price. So if the share price moved, say like 3 times, it went from, I think it's probably conversion about 42 cents. So if it was to go to about $1.26, the warrants would probably be worth about 15 cents. So they'd be worth about 8 times maybe, and they went up only 3 times. So you see where I'm saying the risk reward on warrants are very high. And I'm very new to warrants, and yeah, but I looked into warrants and I thought it's a great way to play the upside on these stocks that I didn't want to buy, but I wanted to buy the warrants. So then there's Hexo warrant is 560, and there's no acceleration clause. And Indiva, and there you need a $1.30, and there's a VWAP for 210, and then InMed Pharmaceuticals $1.25, and Caliterra Therapeutics 15.5 cents. I bought these light cannabis warrants. I'm not sure, not that much, like about $300-400 worth of the warrants at 3 cents, and then I sold them for about 6.5-7 cents when there was an uptick on Light Cannabis Corp. So yeah, it had such a big difference. Like the share price is around 20 cents, and it's for like $2.90. So, but there's a lot of time for it to get to that level. So it has about 2 years to get to that level. So I mean, you pay like 3 cents for the ability. So say if this went to like $4, or I mean, I'm not saying it's gonna go there, but let's just say it does, you would make so much money on these warrants if you bought them at 3 cents. You bought, say, like 100,000 warrants at 3 cents. You would make over $100,000 by paying only $3,000 for those warrants. So yeah, that's the upside of warrants and why I'm attracted to warrants. I own some Namaste warrants, so it needs to get above 315 to be in the money, and I was in the money, and I should have sold a long time ago when it hit $4, and I got greedy, so that was not very good. New Strike brands, I own a lot of warrants, even more than Harvest One. So the strike price is closer to the share price, so I do like that. That's why you pay a bit more money than the Harvest One warrant A's, but I own 150,000 hit warrants. So if the VWAP goes to 260 for 10 consecutive trading days, then they would be accelerated. So say I went to 260. I mean, if the VWAP's above that, most likely it would even hit like $2.80 or $3. So the $3 minus times, I own 150 150,000 shares, I could make 187,500 potentially if Newstrike was to go to $3 before February 16th, 2020. Okay, so yeah, that's a lot of money. Let's look at this. How much should I pay for these warrants? Probably around $10,000 for the warrants. I have 150,000 shares, and my average is around 6 to 7 cents, and the price is trading around 4.5 cents right now. So this one's even better, and that's why they're getting very attractive right now for investors. People, I think, ran it up to 19 cents because it has 4 years to get to the level, and it's at $1. Okay, so just imagine if you bought, I think, let's look at the warrant. Oh wow, they just dropped. So they're 12 cents. That's really a good price. If you ask me, I think that's a great price to get these warrants. Yeah. I don't know if this isn't, it wasn't trading the other day, but okay, look at it, $1. Okay, so if it's either go to $3 minus $1, you get 2. So 2 divided by 12. That's times 100. You could get 1,666% gains if Newstrike Brands is to get to $3 by 2023 and not get bought out before those levels. Now, it's pretty safe because straight up the thinking is that if they're going to get bought up, they're not going to want to get acquired below $1. So generally speaking, I think it'd probably be fairly safe to get these warrants. A lot more safer than the my hip warrants. I think if there's a convergence where my warrants go up a lot, I might want to trade them in, sell them, and then use that money to buy these warrants. But I haven't made my decision. Okay, so Origin House, these ones just got accelerated because they were above $8. Okay, so people that bought, let's look at these Origin House warrants. Yeah, they just got accelerated, and yeah, people have done really good with Canada Royalty. I know this. It's paid very good growth for their portfolio. So people could have bought them for 20.5 cents, and they went as high as 536. So they could have gone 2,600% on these warrants because it hit about $10. That is what I'm talking about. You can make so much money on warrants, it's crazy. But if they would have got bought in before it hit 550, then people wouldn't make F all. That's the risk and reward of warrants. I think Favita Holdings is a good place to maybe get some warrants. I haven't bought any, but I'm looking at them because there's Red Bull people, and if this company really gains traction, I know they're working with WeedMD, and maybe they become a big player. Then if you buy them, I don't know how much they are right now. They might be like 10 cents. You'd have to look that up yourself, but it's at Vita Warrant, and they're on the CSC. And if before April 19th, 2020, they're to get above $1.60, you're going to be in the money. So say it hit like $3 or $2. If it hit $2, you'd be 40 cents for the warrants. If it hit $3, you'd be $1.40. So I mean, and then if it goes to $5, you just look at the risk and reward. Okay, so now RavenQuest Biomed, it needs to be $1.50, and the VWAP needs to be above 275 for 10 consecutive trading days before they're accelerated. So if it was at 275, like, it'd probably hit $3, right? So you look at that, and they're going for 8 cents. People could have picked up some on December 6th for 5 cents. They could have bought 21,000 shares on that day, so they could have spent $1,000, and those same warrants could equal like $1.50. So you could 30 times your money if it goes to $3. So what is RavenQuest going for? It's going for 48 cents, okay? So you have till 2020, February 28th for it to hit $3 or so. So it's trending downwards, and it's hit $2, right? So if they're to go to $3, so if you bought 20,000 shares for $1,000, you could make a lot of money on those warrants. So I don't know. I'm thinking about maybe getting some of these warrants. I know they got a deal with Wayland to distribute 8,000 kilograms this year. So I mean, they're gonna be producing a decent, get some decent revenues in 2019 and 2020. So I don't know. The risk rewards might be good. I wouldn't want to pay 8 cents. I mean, I'd rather pay 6 cents or 5 cents, but I might pick up some. I'm not gonna say for sure. So sugar warrant is 10 cents, and they expire 2023. Wow, that's pretty cool. 2023. I bet these are super cheap. Sugar bud warrants. It's hard to find warrants, I'll tell you that. It's not as easy. Sometimes they just don't want to show when you do a Google search. Yeah, well, whatever the case, I bet they're probably going for about a cent or something like that. They're really cheap. Okay, Tetra Biopharma, $1.30, and 2021, the Green Organic Dutchman. So, say you don't want to pay as much money for a Green Organic Dutchman, you can buy the warrants for a lot cheaper. So if you're really bullish about tgod and you think it's going to be a big player come what year? 2021, February 28th. If you think so, and you buy these warrants at 85 cents, say they go back up to $10, and you buy them for 85 cents, so, and they go to $10 before 2021, effectively these warrants would be worth around like $7. So you would about 8 times your money on those warrants. Now if you bought the share price, what is the share price going for? tgod stock. The risk is all based on the strike price, right? If you're in the money, if the stock price is above that, with time, when you own your warrants, as long as it doesn't go downhill, then effectively there's really no worries with the warrants. It's when your stock might get bought up, or it's going to expire, the acceleration clause, then you need to sell your warrants before it's too late. So 233. Now that's pretty much 4 times to go up to $10, but you could get 8 to 9 times your money, I think, by buying the warrants if it was to go to $10. Now, Green Organic Dutchman, another thing that's good about buying these warrants is there's no acceleration clause. So if these company goes to $15, these warrants will be worth about $12. That's crazy, right? Or maybe it goes to $20, they'd be worth $17. So the upside is immensely, it's huge. So Valen's Growworks warrants, they're $254. Valen's got a deal, I believe, with Canopy. They also have a deal with either Harvest One or HIP. I know HIP and Harvest One also have a deal with Medifarm Labs for extraction. So it's one or the other. But Canopy has deals with both of them. So Canopy, what are you doing, Crowax? So $1.36, okay. So it's been as high as $3. So if it's at these warrants, it goes to $4, like $3.81, then it's gonna acceleration, right? So you could effectively probably make the most $1.50 on these warrants, somewhere around that range. So whatever you pay for these warrants, that's the most you can make, and the least is your warrants could expire with nothing, being worth nothing. If they don't get to those levels by 2020 and you don't sell your warrants before then they could effectively go for nothing. The Wayland warrants are $2.15 strike price, and the VWAP goes above 325 for 10 consecutive trading days. Then they're going to turn into nothing. I mean, they're going to accelerate. So effectively, the most probably you can make on these warrants is about $1.35, and they're trading for 19 cents. So you could probably get like 6 to 7 times your money. Like maybe it would go up to 375 or something like that if it was above that. If it just went crazy, best case scenario, before they get accelerated. So then by 2021, that is October 31st on Halloween 2021, if it reaches that. Now if it doesn't reach the 215 before that and you don't sell out, then effectively it could be worth nothing. But that is the risk and reward with warrants, okay? So that is what happens with warrants, and you can either make a lot of money, or you can they can expire, or you can also decide to buy the shares. Say if you're really bullish on, say, Wayland or the Green Organic Dutchman, and that it's time's running out, and you're like, okay, you could use all the money you made on your warrants, and then like say your warrants went for, say, like they turn into $25,000, and so you could buy around like 8,000 warrant shares of the Green Organic Dutchman. So maybe you'd be like, okay, I'm gonna sell all my warrants and then buy the stock of the Green Organic Dutchman. Or you can also go through a broker, and they will set you up and get you those shares, but you might have to buy all your warrants or something. I'm not sure how it works in that case. I don't intend to buy the stock. I just intend to sell the warrants on the market, and then if people want to buy the stock once they expired, then they can use their warrants if they're in the money to buy the stock. So yeah, warrants are an interesting vehicle. They aren't without cons. They have lots of pros and they have cons. The pros are you need less capital to buy tons of warrants, and you can play the upside on a stock. The downside with the warrants is they can get really distorted if the company gets acquired, and yeah, they're not as liquid as regular shares. So say you want to, like some of these companies, sometimes there's no warrants that get traded in a day. So say there's like a spread between like say 10 to 15 cents for those warrants, and you need to get out because you're like, I want to buy another stock. You're gonna have to hit the bid pretty much, like, or really lower your ask in order to get those sold out. You don't have the same liquidity that you have in the regular shares, but that doesn't really bother me because I expect that when the time comes when my warrants go up crazy, there will be a lot more liquidity in the warrants as well, because there will be a lot of people that are really like hyper and they're like, yeah, I'm gonna make so much money in these warrants, so and then they're gonna buy up the warrants. But meanwhile I'm just getting rid of them and I'm making just tons of cash. That's the game plan. I mean, we'll see. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video about what warrants are and the pros and the cons of warrants, and please give me a like, a thumbs up, and subscribe for future videos on the stock market. I mainly talk about cannabis stocks, and I also talk about silver, and I talk about gold. And you know, if you want to comment down below and give your opinion about anything, and maybe I will add that and make a video about something that you bring up. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and yeah, have a good day.